TikToks that feel illegal to watch. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
If I show weakness, if I retreat, I may be hurt, I may be killed.
This man was eaten alive by a bear. This is Timothy Treadwell, a man who believed he was one of the bears. But Timothy wasn't some grizzled outdoorsman. He was a former bartender from Long Island, New York, who had once dreamed of becoming a famous actor. He even auditioned for the TV show Cheers, but when he lost a role to Woody Harrelson, everything spiraled. Heartbroken, Timothy fell into a deep hole of alcoholism and substance addiction throughout his 20s. At one point, his addiction got so bad he nearly died from an overdose. Searching for a way out, he escaped to the wild and became obsessed with Alaska grizzly bears. But Timothy didn't study them from afar. He lived with them. For 13 summers, he camped in Katmai National Park, walking up to massive wild grizzlies, sometimes even petting them. And somehow they let him. To Timothy, the bears weren't dangerous. They were his family. He believed he was protecting them and that they loved him for it. But rangers warned him again and again, these bears aren't your friends. You're trespassing into their world. And one day, it's going to end badly. In the summer 2003, Timothy decided to break his own rules. Instead of leaving at the end of bear season like usual, he stayed deep into October when bears are starving and aggressive, desperate to survive before hibernation. And this time, he wasn't alone. He brought his girlfriend, 37-year-old Amy Huguenard, a physician's assistant from Colorado who loved nature but was terrified of the bears. The two set up camp in a place called the Grizzly Maze, one of the most dangerous parts of the park. No weapons, no bear spray, nothing to protect them. Timothy told friends he wasn't worried. He said the bears knew him and that he was cool with the bears. But nature doesn't care what you believe. On October 5th, when the pilot arrived to pick them up, he immediately saw a massive bear, bigger and more aggressive than the others, pacing around the campsite. The pilot fled and called for help. When rangers arrived, they walked into a nightmare. The tent was destroyed, the ground was torn apart and scattered across the site were the mutilated remains of Timothy and Amy. Nearby, the same massive bear, a starving old male, was guarding the area. When it charged, rangers were forced to shoot it, but then they found something even more chilling. Inside the torn up tent was Timothy's video camera. The lens cap was still on, so no video, but the audio had been recording. For 6 minutes, it captured the sounds of their final moments. Timothy screaming that he was being attacked, Amy yelling at him to play dead, the sounds of her desperately fighting the bear, striking it with a frying pan, Timothy crying out that he was dying, and finally, silence. The tape has never been released publicly. Only a handful of people have ever heard it, and they say it's one of the most horrifying things imaginable.
Apparently, the girlfriend called her mother while the bear was eating her alive.
All of Diddy's attorneys are incredibly likable. So you have his lead attorney, Mark Agnifilo. He's known for representing Keith Raniere, NXIVM cult leader who was sentenced to 120 years in federal prison for similar charges of racketeering and trafficking. Now, despite Mark's slightly approachable, unassuming look, he clearly is a very intense man. One person describes him as a boxer moving through the courtroom, controlled, watchful, every word is a jab, but this is still probably one of his most challenging cases yet. Along with Mark Agnifilo, you have Tenny Garagos. Tenny she's so put together. She walks in 4-inch heels. She's ready for the day. She's probably most well known for posting a few TikToks last year, more or less defending Diddy on social media, which you can imagine social media and TikTok did not like.
All right, here we go again. Diddy sued by a former bandmate. I'm his lawyer, and here's why you should care.
And then Brian Steele. I will say Brian Steele is very likable. According to a defense attorney that worked with Brian Steele for 30 years, he says Brian doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he can't believe anybody would. He won't curse, even in court, even if he's reading from a transcript. So when he's cross-examining, he will say, so-and-so F word. The court will say, you can read that out loud, and he won't do it. He only drinks water. His lunch is tofu or salmon, maybe a salad, no bread. I've never seen him eat out. He'll bring a toothbrush to court. He exercises daily before and after court, running, swimming, weights. He has 3 kids, a wonderful wife who is also his law partner, and they kind of idolize each other. And then you have Alexandra Shapiro. She's got shoulder-length blonde hair. It's a little curly. She looks incredibly athletic. If you watch those movies about like New York City power women who do it all, that's the kind of energy she gives me. Others say, call Alexandra Shapiro if you can afford her. Additionally on the team, there's Xavier Donaldson, Anna Estavo, Jason Driscoll. One legal expert describes the team as, I'm looking at the team, especially on the first day of jury selection, it seems like they've got people who are experts in their own kind of general areas. I think the team that Diddy has put together are some heavy hitters in their own right. rights, and they're working together as such. But maybe, at least for this past week, maybe the most important person on Diddy's team is Linda Moreno, the jury consultant. She's here to help decide which jurors would be the most advantageous.
I'm honestly shook that women even wanted to be on his defense. Wow.
This is everything we know so far about the beauty influencer who was shot and killed while she was live streaming. So yesterday, 23-year-old Mexican model and content creator Valeria Marquez was live streaming on TikTok from her beauty salon in the city of Zapopan as she normally did. She was chatting with viewers while waiting for someone who her friend said would deliver her an expensive gift from a fan, a gift that she had to receive in person. After waiting for a while, she grew impatient and she said to the chat that she was going to leave since it was getting late. It was around 6:30 p.m. But her friend, also an influencer named Vivian, urged her to stay. Not long later, a man finally arrived on a motorcycle. She looks up at him as he approaches and he asks her, "Are you Valeria?" She responds yes and then mutes the live stream, anticipating a conversation. Only moments later, horrified viewers watched as she was shot multiple times in the torso and the head. She collapses against the table, but never letting go of the stuffed pig that she received as a gift earlier that day. The live stream was only ended when someone believed to be her friend Vivian, but not confirmed, picked up the phone and turned it off. Tragically, this footage has been spread across the internet and social media platforms are still scrambling to take it down. The state's prosecutor office confirmed that they are investigating this case as a femicide, the killing of a woman for gender-based reasons. In fact, this marks the 8th femicide investigation in her state this month alone. Now, the police themselves haven't officially named a suspect, but local media reports point to a man known as LRR. He's supposedly the leader of one of the local cartel gangs. They describe him as one of the most violent criminals in the country. Now, authorities have revealed that Valeria and LRR have dated for several months, and they say that it is possible that he was enraged by the attention and the expensive gifts that she'd been receiving from her fans online. It also turns out, according to local media reports, that he has been linked to deaths of multiple celebrities and influencers in the past as well. However, it is important to note that the police haven't officially named him as the main suspect, but of course, I'll keep you guys updated.
What we're about to share with you is going to be very intense.
What you're about to hear might be difficult for some of you.
We're going to lift the veil for you. Most of these offenders live double lives. Most of them are married. They have children. They coach Little League. You see them at the grocery store. They become different people when they're in a community with other like-minded offenders.
Five nine. This is sick, man. I have 20 of baby. What? Redacted. Oh my goodness. Leave off a true pet. Ugh. Oh, there we what? Oh, set. Okay. Oh my goodness. Man, these men are sick.
As difficult as it is to read and see that communication between offenders, you should know that this happens tens of thousands of times per hour across the world. Offenders from all over the globe are communicating with each other. They're sharing techniques for how to find children, and they are just as graphic and just as morally reprehensible as what you just saw.
That's why we're asking you to join us. These children are unknown and our work is unfinished, and we need your help.
Please, God, protect those kids.
So the water bottle in the interrogation room sometimes is not free. If you've gotten this free bottle of water, you're in an interrogation room and you're being questioned about a crime that the police suspect you of. Now let's just say, for example, they want your DNA. Let's say you drink from that water bottle and you leave it behind in the interrogation room. Now they don't need a search warrant for that DNA because you left it there on property that you abandoned. Don't give them that opportunity, just don't drink the water.
But can you take the water bottle with you after you leave?
Say, yeah, scientists. They say only the top 2% of the world, the whole human population, can grasp this joke, or riddle, whatever you want to call it. It's the most intellectual riddle out there. Not because it's about science, because it flies over 99% of people's heads. I'm going to read it very carefully. Listen closely to every single detail. Rewatch it if you need to before you go to the comment section. So here we go. There is a man that walks into a bar. He says, "Can I get a glass of water?" The bartender pulls out a gun and he points it right at him. The man says, "Thank you," and he walks straight out the bar. So now, why did the bartender pull the gun out? And why did the man say thank you? Why did the man leave so calmly? It's not as simple as you think. Do you know the answer? Don't look at the comment section. Rewatch it if you need to. Listen closely to the details. There's a reason why 99% of people can't get this. There's a good reason only 2% of the whole human population, everybody in the whole world, can get this riddle correct. That's if they don't use any help. So are you the top 2%? I didn't get it, by the way.
Let me know in the comment why.
Talking to them, they're looking at you, but their feet are facing in an opposite direction. That means that they're dying to get away from you, kind of thing. These are signals that you don't necessarily pay attention to. Their posture will tell you everything about their levels of confidence, right? On and on and on. The fake smile, if you could just master the ability to detect the fake smile, it will go wonders for you.
I'm going to show you a real-life video of what it looks like when someone's in the actively dying phase. I've heard from hundreds of my followers that watching these videos have helped prepare them when their loved one was dying. So the videos I'm going to show you, I will give you a trigger warning before I show you them. They are not my patients, and I have been given verbal and written permission by the family to show the videos. I don't think I've ever had a more accurate video of what it looks like when someone's having changes in breathing at the end of life and when they have terminal secretions. So, trigger warning, I'm going to show you the video. Once you watch it, we'll come back and discuss. Trigger warning, here's the video. As you could hear in the video, you could hear some terminal secretions there, all very normal. You could see how her breathing was changing and she was breathing a little differently than we would normally see someone breathe. And I love how the family was moistening her lips. You never want to force them to drink water, but moistening, keeping their lips moist, their tongue moist is always very good. Now the next video I'm going to show you is a little longer, and it really showed the changes in breathing. So you're going to notice she has very long pauses before her next breath. Again, very, very normal and to be expected. So trigger warning, here is the next video.
Ooh. Oh man, the pause. Oh. Ooh. Oh.
Okay, so I know how uncomfortable that can be to watch that because you are probably holding your breath waiting for her to take that breath and you're not sure if she's going to. But she does, and I want you to know it's normal. This person is unconscious and their body is naturally shutting down. When that is happening, we see this all the time. The changes in breathing, the long pauses before the breath, then maybe some rapid breathing after that. all very normal. And you can tell she's okay because of how comfortable she looks. It looks like she's just sleeping. Now, if she was not comfortable, her body would show us. She would be restless, she would be moaning, fidgeting, doing all types of things, and she's not doing that. So a perfect example of how this is okay. And not only okay.
I remembered my dad, but he didn't rattle though. He snored, and he went after my mother whispered, you know, go, we'll be fine. But in Indonesian, and then he went.
Easily offended, I'm easily manipulated. So if you are that person where you are reactive, rule number one. Because if you're looking to be respected, you need to manage yourself. But there are times that people are going to cross you and disrespect you.
Well, how do you deal with it?
So there was a guidepost that's taught to the intelligence communities, and it really, really helps when you're dealing with people. And so one of the ways you deal with that kind of behavior is
Ambi Papolis, the former Secret Service agent turned human behavior expert.
From protecting presidents to interrogating the world's most dangerous men.
She now teaches people how to develop mental strength and persuasive communication skills.
How did they train you as a Secret Service agent to have that strong mental foundation that you have?
There's a lot of things. So first, one of the biggest things that holds people back is the idea that I'm special. You're not that special. For example, I was one of the first responders at 9/11. I watched thousands of people die. And one of the things that got me through it was understanding I wasn't alone in it. And when you learn that you can get through anything, when you tell yourself, nobody knows what I'm going through, nobody can help you because it's just you going through it. Now, the next thing, what's most important is this tool that we don't pay attention to, our body. And there's this study where they started recording people walking. Then they laid it to convicted felons and they said to them, who would you pick as prey? They all picked the same people. They were So there are simple things you can do with your hands, your voice, how you sit, and I will tell you everything. But also, the other thing that's actually interesting, which you didn't ask, but I will volunteer this information, are the strategies to tell if somebody's being truthful or not. And that's lie detection 101.
Her book, Becoming Bulletproof, is very informative and insightful.
Tonight, a Metro Atlanta mother lies brain dead in a hospital room, being kept alive only because she's pregnant.
Literal Handmaid's Tale shit. I'm not kidding. Season 3, episode 9. The episode is named Heroic. A handmaid ends up brain dead and she is kept alive in order to exist as an incubator for the fetus she's carrying. The episode is essentially a horror movie. It's probably one of the most devastating ones. And make no mistake, it was not an accident that the handmaid who was used to perfectly exemplify the usage of a human body as chattel in order to serve the desires of the state was a black woman. It's almost as if they knew. Adriana Smith is completely brain dead, but she's being kept alive against her family's wishes and without her consent simply because she's pregnant. Mind you, she's been on life support and essentially functioning as an incubator for over 3 months, which is longer than she was pregnant before this. She wasn't even 9 weeks along when this happened. But because of Georgia's abortion ban after around 6 weeks, except in certain cases, which as we know are still often ignored, she is now an incubator for the state. Well, sort of, because despite having no choice in the matter, her family is not only going to be raising the fetus if it survives, but they're also on the hook for all the hospital bills. Despite the fact that the fetus has fluid in the brain, which can lead to serious health issues and may even result in the inability to survive outside the womb.
You understand that someone who has actually passed away has to give prior consent for their organs to be used, right? So I guess this confirms what we always knew. A corpse has more rights than an unconscious woman in a red state.
Let me know how you feel about this in the comment.
This person's body is just filled with parasites and parasite eggs all over the place. Those very white spots you see, those are all eggs. Now, how did this person get this way? They got this way by eating undercooked pork for 10 years. And not just undercooked, like undercooked and raw. This can also happen from like undercooked bacon and stuff like that. That's why you really gotta fry it up. The condition this person has is called trichinosis. It comes from the trichinella parasite. And honestly, I'm not even sure if you would survive this. I would assume it would eat your body literally from the inside out. When the infection is extensive and heavy like this, people have trouble regulating their heartbeat, breathing, and even moving. Which makes sense because your body is literally being eaten. All the nerves, everything. However, it is good news. The estimated death rate for this is like 0.2%. But also, I'm not sure how extensive a lot of those cases are. I'm sure they're not as extreme as this case right here. So that's your scary fact of the day. Don't eat undercooked meat. And this isn't just pork. Usually undercooked meats in general can give you this. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. And as always, these videos are for information.
Who would eat undercooked pork? That's just stupid.
When I tell you I wish I could unsee the video that I just saw, a 20-year-old tourist was shredded by a shark. This happened in Mexico. The tourist was from Michigan and he was visiting a beach in Cancun, Mexico. And there's a video circulating on X right now, and oh my God, please do not watch it. It shows them pulling him out of the water, well, what's left of him, and it doesn't even look like a real person. And what's even more sad is the reason he was in the water in the first place was actually to rescue someone else. But after he swam out, he got hit by a wave and then he got attacked by a shark. This is him. This is the video of them pulling him out of the water after it took 72 hours to find him, and he obviously did not make it. His name is Alejandro. He was a student in Michigan. His family says he was a really sweet person, and they were only able to identify him by his head because the rest of him was completely shredded. Authorities are trying to find the shark that did this. They apparently have ways of tracking it down, but obviously there's no guarantee that they're gonna find it. Rest in peace to Alejandro and prayers to his family, and let me know what you guys think.
Yes, rest in peace, Alejandro.
All this, my brother. All of this. This is where I miss all my veins. When I need a smoke, like in the morning, when you need a smoke, you start shaking and stuff. So when I inject myself, because I'm not a qualified doctor, I cannot like catch the vein straight. And when I catch it half needle, that means half of the needle is in, half of the needle is out. That's what causes we on the street.
Okay, I asked Gemini AI, and the drug he's talking about is a cheap, highly addictive street drug made by mixing low-grade heroin with substances like rat poison, cleaning chemicals, and cross HIV medication.
This guy. He's fine. Don't worry about it. As for the guy, though, I have no idea.
For the
Let me
guy.
tell you something. That was a bison, also known as the American buffalo. These menaces are the largest animals in America, getting over 6 feet tall and 2,200 pounds apiece. Not something you want to have beef with.
No.
Pun intended. Especially when you find out that they can also run 40 miles an hour and jump 6 feet vertically. I didn't know 1 ton could do that. That's impressive. And terrifying. But then again, what do you expect when we're talking about the only animal in the world known to run headfirst into storms? Or square up with full-grown grizzly bears? Fear? Never heard of her. But the scariest thing about them is obviously their anger issues that no amount of therapy could fix. As you saw in the opening clip, they're known to attack humans for absolutely no reason whatsoever. They don't like people. Relatable. Moral of the story, if you do this to get a viral video, you'll become famous, alright. You'll be on the news. And as always, follow for more facts.
Bro messed with the wrong beef.
Do you all remember that video of the woman on the plane screaming, "That MFer isn't real"? Well, I just read a story that reminded me of that, and I have to tell you. So this woman emailed me. She wants to be anonymous, but she said when she met her now husband, he would always talk about how he was a huge Blue Angels fan. He grew up near Pensacola watching them fly. He had a signed photo on the wall that he had had since he was a kid, and one of his dreams when they had kids was to bring his kids to see a Blue Angels show. So on one trip to Pensacola, they take their 2 kids to go see the Blue Angels at the National Aviation Museum where the Blue Angels practice. They watch a show. It was her and her kids' first time seeing an air show, and they were just absolutely blown away. After the show ended, they go back into the museum and they were waiting to meet the pilots. There were 3 separate lines that led to 2 pilots each. The idea was for the kids to get a photo with the pilots so that they could hang up their signed photo next to their daddy's picture on the wall. So she's waiting in one line with her son, and her husband has her daughter in another line waiting. She gets up to the pilot, and all of a sudden she looks in his eyes and she just has this insane sense of dread. She said she can't really explain what she felt. It was just, "I'm not supposed to be here looking at you." She said she looked at the other one. He looked off too, but the one directly in front of her had her totally captivated. There was something off about his arms. She said they didn't look real, okay? And the way that he moved was just all wrong. He was jerky. The way that he spoke was weird. She said something about it was just not right. And so all the hair on the back of her neck is standing up. She's like, "We have to get out of here." So she takes her son away. He's acting weird. He seems like something's off, but she doesn't know if he was just picking up on her energy. So they get the signed photo, whatever. She's not going to say anything about it. They walk away about 10 feet over to a table to wait for her husband and her daughter. Her husband walks over to them a minute later. He looks her straight in the eye and he says, "They aren't real." She said neither of them exchanged another word. They just dragged their kids out of there. She said her husband can't explain it either. He just said they don't seem human. She said leaving there, she wanted to run. It felt like she was about to have an anxiety attack. She can't explain it, neither can her husband. She said the energy was just all off. And part of the reason I'm putting this on my backup account instead of my main account is because she said that she thinks that there's going to be a little bit of backlash from this video because the Blue Angels fans are diehard and they will probably defend them. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm just sharing her experience. And she said she didn't expect me to make a video, but she just wanted to know if anyone else had an experience because this happened before that lady on the plane video. Obviously, they were there. Like, there were other people in line that met them, but something about them did not seem human, and she wants to know if anybody else has ever experienced anything specifically with this group. All of my other spooky scary story times are on my main account. This one is just kind of for the redacted and questionable stories.
I believe that lady on the plane, she had legit fear in her voice.
Diddy tried to wipe this picture off the internet. The rapper, now accused of a string of depraved crimes, posted pictures of the August 1st, 2014 party to social media, but swiftly deleted them, according to multiple reports at the time. Among the stars who attended the celebration were Diddy's then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura and then newlyweds Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. Also present was pop superstar Justin Bieber, as well as supermodels Kate Moss, Naomi Campbell, and Kendall Jenner. Actors Zac Efron and Jared Leto, with reality stars Kris Jenner and Paris Hilton rounding out the starry guest list in the Lux locale.
This is the three-step process you have to commit to. And just by doing this, it's going to dramatically change the way you talk. It's going to dramatically change the way you show up. Record a video of yourself speaking for 5 minutes. A full 5 minutes. And people always immediately say, oh, what do I say though? Google or ChatGPT, great conversational starters, and then use those for yourself and just talk, but it has to be impromptu because I'm trying to tease out core behaviors. I don't want you to give me a pitch that you've delivered 20 times already. I want you to just, in the moment, speak. I'm trying to tease out some non-functional behaviors. So once you've recorded that video of yourself for 5 minutes, leave it for a day. Because when you watch it straight away, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I don't like myself, I hate the way I sound. You leave it for a day, you're thinner, you're better looking, you love yourself more. Time and space, it's amazing. So leave it for a day. Then when you watch it back, you review it in 3 different ways. The first time, you turn the sound all the way up, press play, turn your phone over, just listen. Here you're doing an auditory review. So now auditorily, think about how's my rate of speech? How's my volume? Oh, my default rate is around a 3. Oh, I speak really slow, and I stick to that. Oh, my default volume, oh my goodness, it's 1. Oh wow, there's no tonality, there's no emotion in my voice, there's no pitch variety. Oh, I am not pausing. You'll be able to take so many notes and you'll be able to hear things you've never been able to hear before because most people avoid filming themselves because I hate the way I look and I hate the way I sound. So the next step is now you turn your phone back around, you turn the sound and put it on mute, you press play and you just look at yourself. So now as you just watch yourself back without the auditory feedback, all of a sudden now you'll see things you don't normally see. Oh wow, I'm swiveling a lot on my chair. Oh wow, I don't use my hand gesture. Oh wow, I put my hands behind my back. Oh, this is my big tick. I keep touching my glass. I can't help it. Oh, I need to work on that. But you keep touching your glasses, right? I keep touching my face, I keep touching my mouth, I keep fiddling with things. You'll see a whole bunch of non-functional behaviors that you've never seen before because you've avoided it. And also because you have this idea in your head that you're stuck. You're not. It's just a series of behaviors. And then afterwards, the final form of review, don't listen to it and don't watch it. Get it transcribed. Because now you'll see the way you communicate from a different perspective. And you go, oh my goodness, I ramble. I talked about the same thing over, because you see it from a different perspective. Sometimes you don't hear that. It's easier to see it. And then you see it, and I can see you reacting, right? But that's what people do, is they go, oh, not only do I ramble, because when you get it transcribed, leave in all of the non-words and the filler words. Non-words being the sounds we make to fill the silence, filler words being the words we use to fill the silence. And so, like, do you know what I mean? This transcription is immediately going to reveal to you all of your auditory clutter. Highlight it with the red highlighter, because it might not just be those. One of my big ones was okay. I taught online during COVID. As a result of that, because I didn't get the in-person feedback from my students, I would always say okay at the end of my sentences because I wasn't getting any feedback. So I say, that's the vocal foundations, okay? All right, now that's body language, okay, okay, okay. And I didn't even notice I was doing it. But that process revealed to me immediately, oh wow, I didn't know that. I was able to remove that because it didn't serve.
Very informative. He speaks very well though. That means he practices what he preaches.
What did Pope Leo just do to the world? This weekend, the Pope delivered his very first address in which he appealed to the world's powerful and praying for the miracle of global peace. And then, on Monday, we wake up to the news that India and Pakistan have pulled back from the brink of war and agreed to a ceasefire. The United States and China met in Switzerland and finally agreed to a deal, and both of them will now reduce their tariffs by 114%. The Kurdish military group PKK announced plans to disarm and dissolve after 40 years of fighting with Turkey, which has ended the lives of over 40,000 people. The United States met with Iran and both committed to finding ways to address their differences. And then finally, a number of European leaders gathered in Ukraine to deliver Russia an ultimatum: agree to an unconditional 30-day ceasefire or face massive new sanctions. And then, last night, for the first time in years, Putin has offered to meet Zelensky face-to-face this week in Turkey, an offer that Trump urged Zelensky to immediately accept. All of that one weekend. So the question is, was the Pope poping, or would this all have happened regardless?
Something doesn't feel right.
You want to know exactly how I'm feeling? Sir, I just stood here in this Los Angeles County and witnessed the worst miscarriage of justice that this world has ever seen. You want to know how I feel? I'll tell you exactly how I feel. I got some names that I want to call. Alex Spiro, Desiree Perez, and the whole wicked system of Rock Nation, including you, Jay-Z. Yes. You who say you rose from the gutter, but you have traded and bartered the souls of young men, and you're still doing it. The only independent witness in this courtroom is a man whose name is Sean Kelly. He came to court, and our attorneys, he would not even shake their hand after he went upstairs with Kathy Ta and Alex Bott. They met on Saturday before. They met with our witness. And then the man came back, and I sat in the hallway while he sat with Jody Little, the prosecutor's investigator, who acted so dumb, an intelligent woman who did not want... Listen, I've seen so much evidence buried in this, and I know exactly what the public out here will say. Don't talk. You will say, I say this because I'm a father. See, I am a father of thousands around the world. I'm a father of my kids, but a spiritual father to many. And I don't make stupid allegations because I got nothing better to do. You all have been bartering and trading the souls of young black and brown men in this country. And I'm calling on all the umbrellas. I'm calling on everybody in this country to begin to rise up because your sons have been done dirty. It's not over. It's not over. God does not lose. Never. And even though we've come to this juncture, trust me, you will see that our God does not fail. I know that this is wickedness. This district attorney, Miss Kathy Ta, is the same one that witnessed or knew that 5 sheriff's deputies in LA County beat up a Spanish man with the last name Carrillo until the guy was beaten and passed out. ABC News interviewed that man after Eyewitness News, and he said, I thought I would never be here to see my child born, and I would never been able to be around to see my other child rise up. But I'm telling you, this court system is not for justice. It's about wins and losses, and they do dirty to do whatever they can. Jay-Z, let me speak to you. He has kids. Rock Nation. Yes. Because my son refused to sign a Rock Nation deal with you. Yes. And Desiree Perez, you wicked witch, you snitch. Yes. You turned on your co-conspirators, or the whole mafia one of you that was peddling drugs in this country, and you ruled on them before for the Fed to give you a deal. All of you, trust me, I have intercessors, prayer warriors around the world, and they will not stop until you are cut off. Yes. No, we don't shoot you with guns, but we know exactly how to bring you down in the spirit. It's all done. Let's go.
That's powerful.
Open way, guys. Open up.
I'm behind. What did Tory Lanez do? That is passionate.
This thing is insane. If you haven't seen it yet, this is the Volonaut air bike. It's a personal hover bike that looks like something straight out of Star Wars, and believe me, the company clearly knows this. Its inventor is the same guy who was behind the Jetson 1, but unlike the Jetson 1, the Volonaut is taking a much different approach. According to the company's website, this super bike for the skies is powered by jet propulsion and is designed to carry one person with speeds of up to 124 miles per hour. It has a proprietary stabilization system, which is enhanced by an onboard flight computer that provides automatic hover and easy controls for its rider. It's 7 times lighter than a typical motorcycle thanks to its use of carbon fiber, 3D printing, and a minimalist design approach. The write-up from DuPont Registry says that you simply grip the handlebars like a motorcycle, lean forward, and launch into the air. And the controls are managed through a telemetry-equipped helmet. I'll be honest, my brain is struggling a little bit to believe that this thing is real, but considering who its inventor is, I'm sure it is. I'm also sure that it won't be cheap, but let me know what you guys think.
The Jetson one was $92,000. They will probably charge close to $120,000 for this.
This blows my mind. This is the $500 million, 466-foot mega yacht, Nord, built by Lürssen. Let's run the numbers and see how much money they're spending to keep this boat running. For these numbers, keep in mind that Nord has some of the most insane features of any mega yacht. This includes 2 helipads and a helicopter hangar, a full indoor swimming pool, missile detection and military-grade security, and an IMAX theater. She requires a crew of 42. Salaries will be $15 million.
Ooh.
Fuel will be $10 million. Toilet paper, $30,000. Dockage and port fees, $4 million. Maintenance and repairs, $12 million. Insurance, $5 million. Food and provisions, $4 million. Helicopter and toy maintenance, $3 million. That brings our total costs to $53 million a year. Who do you think?
Alexei Mordasov, with a net worth of $30 billion, is the owner of that yacht, Nord.
This 10-year-old died just hours after eating her birthday cake. It was March 24, 2024 in Punjab, India, and 10-year-old Mombi was celebrating what should have been the happiest day of her year. Her parents had ordered a chocolate cake from a place called Kanhan Bakery, and the whole family gathered in their home to celebrate. A video shows Mombi smiling with frosting on her face, her dad laughing beside her, and her mom recording every moment on her phone. Everything looked perfect until it wasn't. Just hours after eating the cake, Manvi and her younger sister started vomiting violently. Manvi said her throat felt dry, she was dizzy, tired, thirsty, so she laid down. But her condition only got worse. That night, she can barely speak. By morning, she was unconscious. Her terrified parents rushed her to the hospital. She was put on oxygen, but it was too late. Manvi was declared dead shortly after she arrived. Doctors were stunned. What could have possibly killed a healthy child so fast? So investigators ran tests, and what they discovered was horrifying. The cake contained dangerous high levels of saccharin, a synthetic sweetener. Normally safe in small doses, but this cake had so much of it, Manvi's blood sugar spiked to lethal levels. She was essentially poisoned on her birthday. A lawsuit has since been filed against the bakery's owner, and the store was delisted from food delivery apps. Again, guys, this happened in India, so shout out to India.
Rest in peace, go.
His ops gave him a chance to call his mom for the last time.
They about to kill me.
Where are we right now?
The bounty hunters.
Can let you pick one of them?
Man, they don't matter, bro. They about to kill me.
Bounty hunters kill you?
Bro, that don't matter.
Don't play in these streets, man. What are you doing in this situation?
This is big news. Really big news. That's because, folks, it's a screen recording on a computer with a variable size window. The person who screen recorded it carefully cropped it not to share classified sensor data, but he did share the cursor as he was moving around. So the whole recording is 25 frames per second, but the aircraft that you're seeing in the screen recording is 6 frames per second. Why would a hoaxer do that? They wouldn't.
They really did it. They have unleashed hundreds of alligators into the Rio Grande so they can catch immigrants trying to cross the river. It is not known who did it, but the fact is that there's now hundreds of alligators in the Rio Grande. And I didn't believe it at first, but I confirmed it by an article by Newsweek magazine. However you feel about immigration in this country, the lack of progress, the frustration that all Americans feel about lawmakers not making any progress on how to fix the problem. How do you feel about the fact that they're now putting alligators on the Rio Grande? Do you think that that would be inhumane for the alligators to be in that area so that they can eat immigrants trying to cross the border? Is it unethical? Is it inhumane for U.S. officials to use alligators in the Rio Grande to deter or murder a lot of immigrants trying to cross the Rio Grande into the United States?
That's crazy, man.
I am wondering if you are all pedophiles.
Whoa.
Because you don't seem to care that children are being sexually abused. So the only thing I could ascertain is that you guys probably enjoy child porn. I don't know, right? You're not looking. I mean, if somebody claimed that I was, I would say, I absolutely am not. I wouldn't let it stand as fact, but you guys love to let it stand as fact that that's what's going on because you're not willing to stop it. So, I mean, if you're willing to perpetuate it, what else could you be? You're going to shake your head, then do something about it. No, Monica, you're not a pedophile. Then why aren't you doing anything about the child abuse that's happening in the county? Because you don't care. If you cared, you would want to stop it. If you cared if it happened to your child, you'd want to stop it. If you cared if it happened to you, you'd want to stop it. Jim, what if it happens to your grandchild? What if? Would it matter then? Probably, right? It's so horrible to think about. Right.
Next speaker, please.
What? Their silence is condoning it all.
All right, why are people bringing children down here when he should be in school? Is school out? Is this an excuse day for him to come down and see this person be sentenced? Is he missing math? Is he missing science? Why is he here? Why would you bring your child down here to see him be sentenced for committing a crime that your son should not even be around because he's committed a crime, and according to the police report, he's a gang member? This is somebody that you think is the great person to put in your children's life. I don't understand that. Why are people just staring at me like I'm saying something that is unheard of? And you should have told him, don't come down here, you need to be in school. When you're out of custody, spend time with your children instead of just having them show up and want to be in their life when you're in court and you need them for sympathy. So he can step out of the courtroom. Thank you.
So not for sympathy. Maybe he wanted his son there because he won't be able to see him for a while.
And someone's looking at you, but they're not really looking at you. You know what that feels like, don't you? And a lot of psychopathic people, a lot of narcissists do that. So part of their face pretends to be interested in you. They are looking at you in the eye, but they're not really looking at you. They're thinking of something else. They're seeing in you what they can get out of you. They're seeing you as an object. Eyes are hard to lie. They tell you something. Now, actors, very skilled actors, can kind of create some of these impressions. But one thing that they can't fake is the tone in their voice. And actors will tell you that it's the hardest thing to actually consciously control. So the voice of a person tells you a lot about their confidence levels, tells you a lot just about their general emotional tone, about their character, about who they are. It's very difficult to fake.
Day 3 of the Diddy trial is officially over, and that shit got wild. Y'all, I'm finna go ahead and tell y'all what happened. But before we do that, make sure you hit that like button, share this video. The prosecution questioned Cassie for hours. It started off with her explaining what the hell freak-offs was. We all know what them Jones is, but this is how she explained it. He said basically it was sex parties that Diddy forced her into with strangers and escorts. She said it didn't just happen once or twice. She said it happened over 100 times, y'all. She explained that she didn't want to do the freak-offs, but once again, she said she did it to make him happy. She didn't want to see him mad and turn to the Hulk. Y'all all seen what he did on that video, right? She described how Sean Diddler Combs sometime gave her pills that was disguised in a vitamin bottle, y'all. He asked her, how did he obtain those? She said the doctors would put the prescription under certain assistants, so it was never in his name. She testified about using opiates and GHB because she said she felt like she had no way out. She felt trapped, and that was her relief. Cassie then said she was physically assaulted too. She said in New York, Diddy turned into Javante and went upside her head inside an Escalade. She said one time in LA, he stomped on her face in a car. So he did the ATL stump. This man was stumping the yard on her, y'all. She said that Diddy boxed her so bad before, she had to hide behind a toilet until D-Rock and James Cruz intervened and stopped it. So this man probably wasn't going to stop, y'all. He blacked out. She also testified saying that sometimes Diddy would intimidate people, including assistants and friends. She told the courts that one time Diddy grabbed one of the assistants, dragged him out of bed, and then in Turks and Caicos, he punched another man in the head. She also said that Diddy had one of her friends hanging over the balcony on some big red type shit, and also threw her into some furniture. And if I can recall, I believe they said that person was Wale. So when they asked Cassie, why did you stay? She said because she feared that he had access to guns, he had access to a lot of things that can ruin her or ruin the people around her and end people's lives. She said one time she was beaten so bad because he found out that she was texting Kid Cudi, who she briefly dated in 2011. Cassie also testifies and says in 2018, when they broke up, he came over and raped her and then left like it was nothing. And she said while he was doing it, his eyes was black, y'all.
What?
That don't sound like a demon to y'all? That's some demon shit. I seen enough Supernatural to know a demon. So they asked her after that incident, why did you go see him again? She said after 10 years, she was emotionally broken. She felt like he still had control, y'all. This man was playing psychological warfare on that girl's brain. He also talked about therapy and writing book chapters about abuse. And she also said she was trying to settle for $30 million just for closure. That lawsuit ended up settling for $20 million last year within 24 hours. So they said throughout all of this, the defense was objecting multiple times, and they even tried to keep details about her past relationships out the court. But the judge said, nope, I'm gonna allow it, because y'all both opened up details about infidelity in the relationship. Y'all bring it on yourself. And then finally, Cassie said after she left Diddy, she did no more freak-offs. She was not doing it no more. And the prosecution rested. And reports say that's where they ended today. They said the courtroom was shook. Y'all, this is crazy. I'm gonna keep breaking it down, so you already know what to do. Make sure you like this, share this, and also drop y'all thoughts down below in the comments. What y'all think about day 3? And what do y'all think is gonna happen in day 4? And if y'all want to, have it up in the comment. Talk about y'all past relationships if you feel comfortable saying it.
If the Johnny Depp case can be broadcasted, why isn't this?
Don't go anywhere because we still have fire clips after fire clips back to back.
Being social and getting along with people and cooperating and knowing how to work with people is a skill. It's not something you were born with. It's not something that some people are good at or bad at. Like anything, it is a skill that you develop. Being social and knowing how to work with people. And in this skill, you're able to pay attention to people and see who they are as an individual and see what their particular needs are, what they're missing in life. You know how to work with them. You know how to properly criticize them if that's necessary. If you don't understand that being social is a skill, if you don't develop it, you could be the greatest at whatever you can do. You could be even the greatest athlete in the world. You're going to be offending your teammates. You're going to be offending the people that you work with. All of your knowledge and your other skills are going to be completely neutralized by how bad you are in dealing with people. When you look at social as a skill, what that means is you have to be spending time with people. You got to get out of your phone. You got to get out of your office. You got to get out of all of your virtuality. You have to be around people. You have to interact more.
I was a social kid. I lost it and got it again. Why, man? Legal steps must be taken. No one should get away with this.
You got kicked out of the DMT space.
Right. I ventured in this space hundreds and hundreds of times, right? And I popped into a space where there was an entity. And this entity was startled by me popping into its space, right? And so in a second that happens, usually what happens with these entities, you have this non-verbal bridge, like sort of like I can read your thought, you can read mine. We are connected immediately. And so I popped in, and I know I startled this creature because it got annoyed with me. So the description that I can give is that the feeling of annoyance, like what are you doing here? What, you know? And in a second that happened, because I knew that this creature was annoyed, the creature also realized that I know. And it almost felt like it corrected itself. Oh, okay, so we have a bridge. So I hear your thoughts, so you have to behave. There was that kind of an exchange, right?
Right.
Now, so the first was a startling, you know, and the second was like, oh, okay, so we are connected. I can hear your thoughts, sort of. You can hear mine. So there's a bridge, and this creature was, again, it's nonverbal, so you just know this. This was the question. If I paraphrase of like, okay, well, you hear what you want to know.
What did it look like?
Almost like the drawings that we see. This creature was tall, and a long face. So it's wearing some kind of a robe. And the question was, okay, so what do you want to know? Why are you here? What do you want to know? And in my mind, I played the game immediately. And it was really quick that I played that like, well, I can ask all these questions and the answer actually doesn't matter. That was the strangest thing. Like I came to a conclusion, like, ask what? And what difference it makes. If I know or I don't know, doesn't matter. And I was like, oh, I'm just passing through. I don't really have a question. And this thing got annoyed with me to the point, like, boom, I was out. The experience stopped completely. The vision stops. I was out. I was sitting in my little meditation chair that I sit. And after that, for months, I could not get back in at all. No matter what I would do. So I was just kicked out.
So Austin Metcalf's father may have just destroyed Carmelo Anthony's entire self-defense claim, literally, with one hand. While Carmelo's mom is on camera crying, saying their daughter can't even sleep in her own room after what happened, let's not forget why this all started. Her son took Austin Metcalf's life, simply because Austin told him to leave an area he wasn't supposed to be in the first place. Now here's the wild part. Austin's dad did exactly what Carmelo should have. He showed up uninvited to Carmelo's press conference in a space he wasn't welcome. One arm in a sling, the other free. He stood in the corner, said nothing. Security asked him to leave. He didn't. They asked again. He still didn't. So they calmly escorted him out. No threats, no yelling, no violence, no one died, just quiet resistance. But when Austin asked Carmelo to leave that tent, Carmelo immediately got combative. He said, touch me and see what happens. Then punch me and see what happens. And when Austin tried to escort him out, Carmelo pulled out a knife and stabbed him in the heart. So now imagine the roles reversed. A white man shows up uninvited to a black event, refuses to leave, and gets escorted out peacefully. No knives, no chaos, no death, just like it should have been. Carmelo made a choice, and now his family's playing the victim while another family had to bury their 17-year-old son. Let that sink in.
I wondered why crocodiles don't bother with capybaras.
Capybara.
You've probably seen the clips. Massive crocs just lying there while capybaras hang out like it's a day at the spa. Mad, right? Well, crocodiles can eat just about anything. They're top of the food chain. But capybaras? They're chilled out. No panicking, no sudden moves, just pure calm. And that throws predators off. Plus, crocs only hunt when they're proper hungry. If they've already scoffed a meal, they're not keen on the effort. Capybaras are chunky too, not exactly an easy snack. And if it kicks off, they can put up a fight. So in the wild, the croc looks at the capybara and thinks, nah, not today. Funny how staying calm can be.
If I was a capybara, I would sleep with one eye open.
Rarest horse, once extinct in the wild, so it got me excited.
Oh yeah.
Ended up on a Colorado ranch.
Boom!
He gets a
good
banger
deal.
of a deal, $1,300.
On this mule pound. And then the mule starts maybe not acting so mule-like.
Okay.
And for some reason, I don't know why, they decided to do some DNA testing on this mule. Who probably wasn't doing his job. Turns out, it's Przewalski's horse.
Whoa! So this is where my mind is just blown. So this horse that looks very unique, does look very mulish.
Yeah.
That is from like China, and doesn't exist in the wild now just came out of a fucking mule pound in Colorado. I'm so confused. What happened and how?
It's very confusing because like this would have to be born from 2 other of this highly endangered animals.
Yo, the tariffs are gonna be high.
TMZ is reporting that Justin Bieber is now officially broke after spending around $1 billion throughout his career.
I was on a call with multiple people. Justin's side acknowledged that in 2022 he was on the verge of, and the words were, financial collapse. And that's why he had to sell his catalog.
In TMZ's new article and documentary, they said that Justin Bieber was on the verge of financial collapse in 2022, and that's why he had to sell his entire music catalog for $200 million. Now, apparently, Justin Bieber still owes a ton of money to his former manager, Scooter Braun, who told him not to sell his catalog in December and wait for the tax break in January, but Justin Bieber did not want to listen. After the cancellation of the Justice Tour in 2022, Justin Bieber was left with a debt of $24 million to a production company, which had advanced him $40 million. To cover that loss, Scooter Braun's company actually paid that off for Justin Bieber when Justin Bieber agreed to repay him the amount over 10 years, but stopped paying after the first year. After an investigation, Scooter Braun's team was actually still owed $8.8 million that Justin Bieber has never paid.
How do you spend $1 billion?
What did I tell you guys? I'm telling you, watch the Middle East. Watch what Trump is doing. Yesterday, I made a video concerning why Trump is making these strategic moves in the Middle East. He's wanting peace in the Middle East first. As well as I said, he's trying to get Saudi Arabia on board with the Abrahamic Accords. This is the last country, the most vital country that he needs to join the Abrahamic Accords that he started on his first term. So I was asking you guys, why do you think he's receiving this huge gift from the Saudi prince? The big airplane that he's giving President Trump, and they're going to turn it into Air Force One? There's a reason behind it. Why do you think that is? Now, we don't know exactly what the plan is or why he's giving him the plane, but we know nobody's giving a $400 million plane as a gift without receiving something in return, correct? So what we're gonna do is continue to keep our eyes right here in the Middle East, because prophecy is jumping off the pages of the Bible right now. So kick back, get your popcorn, and watch the show.
God is using Trump to fulfill the prophecy.
Okay, so this is the craziest thing ever. Apparently, hackers demanded $20 million in Bitcoin from Coinbase, and they were threatening to leak customer data. And instead of giving them their ransom, the CEO, Brian Armstrong, refused to pay the money, and then instead offered $20 million as a reward for information leading to the attacker's arrest. Check this out.
Hey, everyone. I want to make you aware of a disturbing email that we received recently at Coinbase. It was a ransom note demanding $20 million in Bitcoin in exchange for these attackers not releasing some information they claim to have obtained on our customers.
That's wild.
Now, we like to do things transparently here at Coinbase, and so I'm going to respond publicly to these attackers by saying no. We are not going to pay your ransom. In fact, I have a few next steps in mind that I'm going to share at the end of this video. But for the rest of you watching, wondering what happened, we did an investigation here. And these attackers have been approaching our overseas customer support agents.
Of course.
Looking for a weak link, someone who would accept a bribe in exchange for sharing some customer information with them. Now, our support tools have limited access to customer information. There was no passwords or private keys or funds accessed as part of this.
Okay, that's good.
But customer support agents do have access to personal information like name, date of birth, address, etc.
Oh, that's not good.
Still want access to this information because it allows them to conduct social engineering attacks where they can call our customers, impersonating Coinbase customer support, and try to trick them into sending their funds to the attacker.
That's gross. Man.
Now, unfortunately, they were able to find a few bad apples.
Naturally.
Our systems are designed to mitigate the impact of something like this. So less than 1% of our monthly transacting users had their records accessed.
No, that's
But
not
this is still
too
unacceptable.
bad. Yeah, but still,
I want to tell you what we're doing about it.
better than what it could have been for sure.
So first, any customers that were socially engineered as a result of this incident, we're going to reimburse them.
Nice.
There's more details on our website, on our blog post about the reimbursement process.
Legit.
You can read more there.
That's cool.
Any customers who have been impacted by this or have been notified at this point.
Okay.
Number two, we're hardening our systems around customer support to make something like this much more difficult in the future.
Good.
And third, we're actually relocating some of our customer support operations as a result of this.
Yeah, you'd have to.
But the last step is maybe the most important, which is that instead of paying this $20 million ransom, we're turning it around.
Nice.
So we're putting out a $20 million award for any information leading to the arrest and conviction of these attackers.
Let's go.
For these would-be extortionists or anyone seeking to harm Coinbase customers, know that we will prosecute you and bring you to justice.
Awesome.
And now you have my answer.
Savage, dude.
Mel Gibson move.
Out who's full of BS and who isn't. One, you feel it. Your intuition is a huge thing, and we dismiss it. Two, people show you. You create baselines on people. So if I sit and I speak to someone, and the whole time they're speaking, like when you talk, Stephen, most of your hands are usually here. You go on the iPad, you do this. That's your baseline. You do lock eye contact. I've got Stephen. Let's say I ask you later a question, and maybe it's a question you don't like, right? I ask you, like, tell me about your employees at work, or tell me about the most difficult employee you had and how did you deal with it? And it's something maybe that affects you. You don't want to talk about it. You don't want to be honest with me. You might be like, oh, you know, Evie, and you look down. I'm like, well, you know, I'll see a shift. This whole time I'm talking to Steven, he's locked in with me. He's got a certain posture. I asked him this question. He just showed me something different. Why? I know to be curious. When you're done asking or answering my question, I come in with good follow-up questions. Because you're showing me something is happening here. What most people don't do, Steven, is they see something, it registers, and they let it go. They don't follow up with another question. You don't want to be nosy, but you want to be curious.
This lady is incredible. Her knowledge is amazing. Everything she says makes sense. When billionaires meet trillionaires.
Diddy's legal team is on it. I told you, I never saw the government really having a trouble with the case. Not at the federal level. They're having trouble with this case. You got Mark Garagos' daughter on the legal team, right? You got one of the top lawyers, I forget his name, right? That's the one in chief. I think the government has 6 lawyers at their table. And so many, Diddy has so many lawyers, they can't all fit at the table. And they are top notch. They are hitting every single point. We spent an hour today before they even got started just going through. They were arguing about the fact that basically the government is mad because the government is like, we should be able to see what the defense is going to cross-examine them on, what exhibits they're going to use to cross-examine Cassie on pretty much. And the defense team was like, no, y'all have to burden the proof. So that was a big argument over that.
I think if his team was really good, Diddy would be out on bail.
Did you know there is a scam going around very, very recently about
Scam
these
again.
capture tests? We've all had them where you've got to, click that you're not a robot, click how many buses are there, etc. Well, scammers are now using this very well-known test to make you do actions on a keyboard or on your phone, which would then allow them to access your device. But the thing is, you wouldn't know that you're actually, infecting yourself with this software.
Ooh.
All you think is you're just verifying something to read an article or play a game or whatever you're doing online. You just think this is part of the norm because it normally is. But if there's ever anything asking you to do actions like hold, Control V and all this stuff, please don't do it because they will literally get in through the back door and have access to anything that they want. that sounded wrong, on your phone. So yeah, it's really, really quite a clever way to fool people, because we've all had to do these boring tests, and now they're using it to access devices. So yeah, please don't do anything they ask you like this. Just be a bit more clued up, because a lot of people will just think this is normal, but it's certainly not normal. So don't forget to like and share, follow for more. I'll see you next time. Cheers.
Hey, thank you. But there's no control V on my iPhone.
Watch this former 33rd degree Mason explain the similarities between Mormonism, Freemasonry, and Satanism.
If you go to Temple Square, you'll see Masonic handshakes, you'll see the all-seeing eye, you'll see the sun, the moon, the stars. There's no crosses on the Mormon temple. There's nothing Christian on the outside of the Mormon temple. When you get inside the temple, you go through 3 levels. And in each level, you're taught hand signs and handshakes and things that are all very similar to Masonic stuff. And you are made to swear an oath. You put your hand to your throat and go like this, the same as you do in the entered apprentice degree of the Masonic Lodge. In the 3rd level, you are taught another set of secret handshakes, and then you're instructed, and this is where it gets really Masonic, you're instructed to go up, and they have this veil, which they say is like the veil in Solomon's temple. So you've got Masonic markings. You have a square and a compass on your chest. You have another marking on your navel and another Masonic marking on your knee. These same markings are on the veil, but they're stitched so they're holes. And there's a guy on the other side of the veil that you can't see who represents Heavenly Father. And you go up to this guy and you're instructed, you put your hand through the veil, and this is called the 5 points of fellowship. And this is right out of Masonry and right out of witchcraft. Gardnerian, Alexandrian witchcraft, and Masonry and Mormonism all have these 5 points. And the 5 points of fellowship are foot to foot, knee to knee, hand to back, breast to breast, and mouth to ear. So you're embracing this unknown guy through this veil, and he whispers to you the secret name of the celestial kingdom. And you ready for this? It's health in the navel, marrow in the bones, strength in the loins and in the sinews, power in the priesthood be upon me and my posterity for all generations of time and all eternity. Now, that might sound reasonably benign, except for the fact that it's almost word for word out of the satanic grimoire. It's a satanic incantation. The only difference is that obscene words are used.
Watch what this woman has to say.
I didn't see a ship 19 miles away. I saw a ship that was so close, and they said at the time it was less than 9 miles away. Now they're trying to say it was 19. I saw it. You know, it wasn't just lights on the horizon. You could see it was a ship. And I saw our rockets being fired, which that ship must have seen. This inquiry says that they did see it, but they didn't think it was a portent of danger. But I would have thought in the middle of the Atlantic, in the middle of the night, rockets must have been in trouble. The whole thing was a tribute.
Did you see Rose?
That made me so arrogant as to build something and claim that it is undestroyable, if you like. It's the most terrible. And as I say, all these years later, this interest has been found. And it's because there was no need for anyone to die. No one should have died. Had she had enough lifeboats for 2.5 hours in a very smooth sea, nobody would have died. And one life is worth more than a short shore. That is what I saw, that is what I remember.
Because it was a mass assassination, so the banking system could be what it is today.
Wow, guys, I just watched a video that I'm gonna post right now. It's about a girl, 23-year-old in Miami, Florida, who literally gave HIV to over 100 men. This hits close to home because I was involved with a married man, and or he had a baby mama, and I got checked for everything. So you never know. Watch the video. This is crazy.
Tengo la culpa. Ellos deberían de estar con sus esposas y prefieren estar con una cualquiera. Y no me importa decir que soy una cualquiera, porque ellos así lo quieren. Yo no tengo por qué sentirme mal por infectarlos. Ellos me infectaron
look at her eyes.
A mí primero. Tengo 23 años. Un maldito hombre perro me destruyó la vida. Ahora odio a todos los hombres. Me infectó de SIDA. Me dicen, ay, vamos a ponernos condón. No, papi, así está bien. No pasa nada. Pero el perro se infecta de SIDA. Pero este es mi plan. Voy a ir por todos los clubs e infectar todos los hombres que yo más pueda. Yo tengo que vengarme por todos, al 100 por uno. Y voy a infectar a los hombres que más puedan. La verdad no me siento mal por infectar a esos hombres y que infecten a sus esposas. Ellos deberían de respetar a sus esposas y no lo respetan. ¿Yo por qué tengo que respetarlas a ellas? Ya este es mi último día. Ya no tengo las fuerzas. Pero me he llevado a más de 100 hombres. Y me voy
You're
contenta
the
porque es
devil,
justicia.
lady.
Y espero que entiendan.
Wait, can you go to jail for that?
A couple hours ago, we just got the greatest interview of all time with the former Minister of Truth, Antiquities of Egypt, Zahi Hawass. He covered the pyramid energy focusing, the plasma bubbles above the pyramid. All of this by giving us the true meaning of what the hieroglyphs were talking about this entire time. The symbolism, all of it is out there now. Why everything looks like a computer chip. Like, seriously, it's the best thing that I've ever seen in a very long time. And he even tied it in with like some quantum stuff. He even touched on the scans and confirmed them using previously known chambers. Absolutely incredible interview. I just want to give you a few of my highlights.
Because most of the information that's written in pyramids are wrong.
Most of it?
Most of it.
In archaeology books?
In archaeology books.
Really?
Except me. I'm the only Egyptologist who have an open mind. Really? That I always look. Yes. I am not a scientist. I am not a scientist.
Right, so
again, I am not a scientist.
Right, so why you don't believe in carbon dating?
I am a scientist.
Oh.
I am the scientific director who really, if they discover something, they come to me.
You do believe in magic?
Yeah.
So you believe that someone could take someone's head off, put it back on?
It's written.
Okay, then it must be true.
Yeah.
Why is this not online?
Who never put it online? It's in my book.
Okay, so he didn't say any of that stuff. The world has wanted to know why that box exists in that tunnel and why there are huge shafts in Egypt that go down untold feet, and why the box here is underneath the pyramid that looks like a computer chip. At some point, you have to go for yourself and see all of this stuff, but if you can't, most of us would prefer not to get a story that does not make sense. We're just tired of being told what to think. I will cover everything I talked about on my YouTube a little later tonight, and the science about why this doesn't add up anymore. That will be posted in that link in my bio. I think we all just want some open-minded discussion here.
I'll watch it, and I'm still not sure about him. He's still like very mysterious.
You ever wonder why cops go silent when they're interviewing you? Here's something you probably didn't know. There is a period of time that some police officers will just stop talking. That silence is a void, and it's a void that you want to feel because you're uncomfortable in the silence. If you find yourself in a police interrogation room, which if you watch David Riding's videos, you should never be, but if you're there, you should meet their silence with your silence, and you should invoke that right early and often.
The members of cartels are animals. I've seen trees, where these smugglers would just hang panties up in a tree as a trophy. Talking to a little girl about 9 years old, that was part of a smuggling group, who was multiple times by members of the criminal cartel. 9 years old? Yeah. And let me tell you something, as tough as a guy you want to be, you get on your knees, you talk to this little girl, and everything innocent, pure, has been ripped from her. She's never going to be the same. I can't believe there's a human being out there that would do that to a little girl. Talked to a doctor down there who told me this story. Mother and father and a child, 22-month-old little girl from an African nation, was crossing the border, coming across the river. Smugglers, the animals they are, they bring them across on a boat. Border Patrol starts approaching them, so what do the smugglers do? They throw their family in the water, can't swim, because they know Border Patrol's going to go rescue this family and then get away. The little girl later died at the hospital. The doctor shared with me the little girl, to her post-mortem, was assaulted in every little opening of her body. This other doctor we visited down there, he has a big old ranch. He finds dead bodies all the time. He found a young female, her panties were down to her ankles. Her ankle was broken. After this young girl got raped, they break her ankle so she can't go seek help. She died.
Oh my God. Send Delta in. Eradicate them.
This is the Kailasa Temple in India. It was built between 756 and 773 AD. According to the fake history, the fake mainstream narrative, they built this out of this mountainside, this hillside, and this is one piece, one complex, chiseled, hand chiseled from the top down. Who honestly believes that? They expect us to believe that. Look at that. Look how perfectly symmetrical. This is symmetrical. Elephants on both sides. Look at that. Laser technology. This is lasers or some other abilities that they had back in the day that we don't have anymore, or that they hide. There's no way we did this with hammer and chisel. That's fabrication. That's fake history. I want y'all to look at how detailed this is. Look at the intricate cuts and the details. Do you honestly believe that all of this was hand chiseled from one piece, from one mountainside, one rock area? That's what the mainstream wants us to think. That all these details and cuts and divots and steps and all that, they didn't build anything from somewhere else and carry over and stack it. They went from the top down. Allegedly, it took them 17 years to do that. This is one piece. All these statues and different, monolith looking things, and this whole cave system, all these pillars, all that stuff. Look at all those elephants. All that stuff is hand chiseled. No power tools. This looks like it was laser cut. Ancient people had technology. People in the past had technology. So guess how many pounds, how many tons of rock they had to move to complete this? Between 200,000 and 400,000 tons. So that's between 400 million and 800 million pounds of earth and stone they had to move. Look at that. Look at those cuts. Look at those cuts. This is a computerized laser system. The thing is, people are like, oh, well, they just had a lot of time back then. They had a lot of people, a lot of manpower to pull this off. Just because you have, 1,000 workers doesn't mean it's going to equal skill. Quantity does not equal skill. Quantity does not equal perfection. Everyone had to be a master level stonemason in order for this to look like this. You really think like that the foreman of the site is like micromanaging every single chisel? Oh wait, you need to go a half a centimeter into that rock. This would require masterful level stonemasonry that they did. There's no way they had that. This was a computerized laser system. So the point of this video is to get you to open your eyes and see that they're lying to you, and you cannot trust the mainstream. You cannot trust whatever the mainstream says. It's going to be cap. It's going to be. This is the Matrix, and they're going to feed you lies to keep you docile, controlled, and easy to manipulate. All right? So this was not built by hand. This was technology. This is something we need to all wake up to.
I bet people just lived back then. No taxes, free energy, free water. It was the time.
Guy that created Vaseline.
I heard of this. I heard of this.
It's the funniest story. So this guy was working at an oil rig, and like everybody just played off the petroleum jelly going off.
Mm-hmm.
But one day he was like, he took it and then he put it on himself because he was like, oh, this can actually fix my cuts.
Yeah.
Right. So all of the oil rig workers, whenever they got a cut, he started putting it on them,
and it healed them.
Yeah. But every day he believed so much in his product that he ate
that
stupid
scoops. Spoonfuls of thing every day. But what's crazy?
He died, no?
No. But this was crazy.
What?
Before he died, when he was 90,
yeah,
he was in the hospital because he had I think it was a respiratory disease.
Yeah.
And he told the nurse to lather himself every day from head to toe in Vaseline and feed it to him.
What the fuck?
He got cured from that disease because he did that. But later he died off something else. But he cured himself with this is not health. This is not like
this is not
health
health advice. It's not health advice
at all. Do not do it. But like for some reason it worked with this guy because I guess this is his product.
The thing I remember most from being there was P. Diddy in the restroom of the Met. It was the women's room. That's why I was there. Okay. Dry humping a Kardashian.
Like I heard the dry humping anecdote, but I don't think you revealed the name.
Yeah, there were multiple Kardashians in there, and like that other sort of lame supermodel version, like not the real supermodels like we grew up with, but like these new influencer types.
Right.
They were all in there. No one was using the bathroom. They were smoking and dry humping, and that was P. Diddy. Like, I'm just saying there's a pattern of disrespect for others and our sacred places and things that should be treated as inviolate. And it applies to places and it applies to people. And I have no idea what this guy is capable of, but I think it's probably worse than we can even imagine.
So you're saying there's no pagan influence on Christianity?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, the accusations of Christmas is pagan, Easter is pagan, like, that's nonsense.
How do we get the eggs in Easter?
That's a Middle Age thing because eggs were associated with both spring in Europe. It's a European thing.
Christmas. How do we get Santa?
Santa is like a combination of St. Nicholas, who is a 4th century bishop, and Sinterklaas in Germany. I think it's a New York thing. I think eventually the Dutch in New York.
That's fire.
Good for y'all. Yeah, you're gonna take credit for that one?
Yeah.
I mean,
What about Halloween?
Halloween is All Hallows Eve, and the like pagan stuff appears to have been entirely invented by commercialization.
But the accusations that, like, even the Jesus story was taken from other myths and other religions. Is it bullshit?
Yes. If you look at the details and then try to find the parallels, they're just not there.
What's your favorite song by her? Is that like, that's like a impossible question.
If there's anything this video teaches me, it's the fact that people have way too much time on their hands. This video shows a celebrity that most people probably know, Zendaya, and in this video we can see her smiling, and then it appears as though her face glitches, the smile vanishes, and then she makes a bunch of other weird facial expressions during this interview. Now, weird clips of Zendaya have been floating around for quite some time. People also make remarks about her hat, and because of this, people have come up with something known as the Zendaya theory. And this might seem pretty ominous and creepy, but in reality, it appears as though this is just a giant inside joke, and people are making it up, kind of like excluding people on purpose, an inside joke. In fact, this clip of Zendaya glitching, this is the real clip right here, and that's exactly why I'm saying people have way too much time on their hands to edit this. As for the other weird facial expressions, I think that Zendaya just has a very expressive face. Really don't think anything weird is going on here, and again, I'm pretty sure this is just a giant inside joke.
How does he switch from upside down to a frown so fast?
But the accusations that, like, even the Jesus story was taken from other myths and other religions. I think, like, the Egyptian god Ra or something like that. Like, how do you feel? Is it bullshit?
Yes.
Really?
Well,
Talk that shit.
It's Jesus mythicism, and no historian, like even the people who doubt that Jesus exists, don't use that argument, because usually historians are aware of the primary sources, and if you look at the stories of like Horus, Ra, Mithras, Attis, if you look at the details and then try to find the parallels, they're just not there. It was made up by, largely, and popularized by the
Dan Brown?
Zeitgeist.
Oh.
You know, the movie Zeitgeist?
Zeitgeist. Yeah, yeah.
Like a YouTube thing?
Yeah.
It's made up from thin air. So if you look at the actual stories of like Horus, Ra, the accusations of virgin births and 12 disciples, and you won't find them in those things.
People who disagree have not done their homework and listened too much Billy Carson.